Namaste teachers. I'm Dr. Simbi Mahajan from Sri Aurobindo Society. Welcome you today's session of 21 disabilities. Today we are going to discuss about hearing impairment and speech and language disabilities. So as we have been learning in our previous session also, like how a teacher from the mainstream school can include children with different disabilities, and today we are going to discuss as a teacher how you can include children with hearing impairment and speech and language disabilities into your classroom. So to understand about that, first of all, let us understand what is hearing impairment or what are kind of language disabilities are there. So I need to start my presentation. So can I request a team to start the presentation? First slide. So, according to RPWD Act 2016, hearing impairment is defined as, so there are two things. One is deafness and one is hard of hearing. Deafness is when which is equal to, deafness means a person which is having 70 decibel hearing loss in the speech frequencies in both the ears. So we wanted to say that when there is a person can hear, that hearing is measured in terms of decibels. So when where there is a speech, when the person any person speaks and the other person listen to that speech, so there may be some speech deficit, that is the in terms of decibels. So for the normal human being, people who don't have any problem, so then the normal range is between 0 to 25 decibel. After 0 25 decibel, there may be speech hearing defect, which comes into hearing defect as per the condition. If we say that the person is deaf, that means that there is a deafness, then that means that there is a hearing loss of 70 decibel or more in both the ears. And then what is hardness of hearing? When there is a difficult person can hear but with lot of difficulty, and there is not very clear hearing, and that is termed that is defined in terms of decibel, is that hardness of hearing means persons having 60 to 70 decibel of hearing loss in speech frequencies in both the ears. So this is the definition of deafness or hardness of hearing, hard of hearing. But let us understand, this is just a, let us see how you can understand hearing in terms of functional deficit in children. S- Next slide. So before that, I will just categorize, I will give you the categories how the person is defined in terms of he's having mild hearing impairment or moderate. So as I told you that 1 to 0 to 25 is the normal hearing speech loss, but before after that, from 26 to 40 decibel of hearing loss is seen in cases with mild hearing impairment. And so that is how you can understand that these people can understand the soft speech, but there, if there is back noises in the background, then it will be difficult for them to hear the normal spoken speech. And for moderate hearing loss means 41 to 55 decibel loss. That means person has a difficulty in hearing conversational speech. When two or three four people are conversing or talking to each other, these people, they have a problem in understanding in terms of hearing. And then third is the moderately severe hearing loss, that is 56 to 70 decibel hearing loss. So persons with moderately severe hearing loss may have difficulty in hearing conversational speech even at a very very close distance. And severe hearing loss means 70 to 90 decibel hearing loss. There they may only hear loud environmental sounds. So we say that the person, the normal conversation speech is is lies between the 35 to 45 decibel speech. And there are certain loud noises, like when the child is crying, so that comes under the 60 decibel. And then there is a traffic noise which comes under 90 to 100 decibel. So you can understand that from that the person who's having severe hearing loss, the person is having 70 to 90 decibel of hearing loss. So they may only hear the very very loud environmental sounds. And then the profound hearing loss, when the person is having more than 91 decibels of hearing and above, and they hear very loud environmental sounds. So for benchmark disability, as I told you, the person, if the person is having hearing loss of 60 to 70 decibel in both the ears, with all the hearing aids and everything, even then that loss is not covered, and the person is having with all the aids and everything, the the deficit is between 60 to 70 decibel, then that person comes into the benchmark disability. So as a teacher, how you are going to understand that a child sitting in your classroom, if you have not been informed that the child is having total hearing loss or child is deaf, maybe you will come to know. But if the child is having hardness of hearing, how you are going to identify that the child is having a problem? So let us understand. Next slide. So any four of these statements, I will be giving you lot of cues. But if any four statements are true about any case, then you can consider that there may be considerable degree of hair loss in the child. First is that if you see that if there is the child is unable to obey the commands, you are saying something and you can see that the child is not reacting to your instructions or not obeying you, maybe he's having a hearing loss. Second is unable to hear the sounds from back. If you are standing at the back of the person who's having the hearing defect, and he is not able to hear you when you are standing at the back, then that means that the child may be having hearing impairment. Third is expecting the teachers to repeat instructions. When there is a regular demand from the child that he demands again and again for the repetition of instructions, then there may be a person is having the hearing deficit. Able to hear only when the teachers face them and speak slowly. Sometimes we see that the children are able to hear only when they see you as a teacher in person. They see your lip movement, they are concentrating on your face and your movement. Only then they are able to hear it, that he is concentrating to understand the speech. That means there may be the hearing defect. Giving special attention to the lip movement and gestures, as I told you earlier. Next. Turning to speaker directly while listening. Sometimes these children with the hearing defect, as I told you, they don't understand the when the noise voice is coming from a distance. They tend to move to the person who is speaking. So they constantly turn around and they see the person who is speaking. Only then they can able to concentrate and they can hear. So this is a very very important cue. And next is that they either their own voice is like that, either they speak too slowly or they speak too loud. So the person who speaks too loud, even then that is understood that the person may be having hearing defect. Then they are maybe having if defective speech, since they cannot hear properly, so they cannot understand certain syllable, they can't understand certain sounds, they themselves speak, their speech is also defective. If the person is having hearing loss, this is more common in congenital problem when the child is born with the deafness and hearing loss. Having poor language development with defective word and sentences formation, so this is again very very common when the child is born with the hearing deficit and hearing impairment. Then his language is also not developed properly. He may use defective words and sentences, because communication is one of the very very important part which plays in the learning of a child. So out of all the disabilities, hearing disability is something where there is a, it is very challenging that when you make the child understand and learn anything, because communication is one of the most important media to give anything, to give back to the child in terms of learning, in terms of knowledge. So when the child is not able to hear anything, then there this challenge in communication further causes more challenge in including the children with hearing difficulty. Then they these children, if they are having hearing problem, it is a temporary hearing loss, or it may be the hearing loss because of the external factor, like the child may be having frequent cold. his he is most of the time whose nose is obstructed, he is not able to speak properly, so he may be having a hearing deficit or speech deficit. And suffering from flow of liquid from the ear. So you must have there may be a history of child, that child is giving the history that there is a discharge which is coming from ear. So it is a very very common condition, we called it as chronic suppurative otitis media or acute suppurative otitis media, when there is a hole in the when there is an infection, and then suddenly there is a hole in the tympanic membrane, ear membrane, and the discharge comes out of the membrane outside the ear. If it comes very very regularly, then there is a permanent hole in the membrane, and which causes the hearing impairment, hearing deficit problem in the children. Next. So this was something related to hearing. So these were the typical hearing what is the exactly what was the how we define hearing in terms of hearing impairment, and how you can identify children. And there are many causes in hearing, is depends upon where the problem is. It's so ear our ear is divided into three parts, like external ear, middle ear, and internal ear. So any problem in the area can lead to the hearing defect. First is the external ear, which we usually see. This is the area outside, the area which is visible in terms of ears is the external ear. So it's malformation, and because of some certain problem, the outer external ear is impaired. Then again, because this part of the ear helps in collecting, diverting the sound waves to the ear, to the internal ear. So if there's any malformation in the external ear, it causes the hearing, it affect the hearing of the person. Then we have the middle ear. Middle ear is the ear canal, eustachian tube, what we called as ear canal, and the eardrum. So most of the time we have seen that many children, they have a wax collected in the ear. Wax is full of ear is is full of wax. So because of that also children are having hardness of hearing, they cannot hear properly. And or some certain infection in the ear, as I discussed before also, if there is an infection, there is a suppuration, there is a discharge which is in the ear, it can also cause the hearing impairment. And then third comes the internal ear. Internal ear is the internal ear which consists of cochlea and semicircular canals, which is more of a sensory part, where nerves are there, which basically conducts the message, takes to the brain, and it comes into the form of the then as then it comes into the form of the output what we are hearing. So sometimes defect in the internal ear can lead to the neurological deafness and neurological causes. So these are different part where any part which is affected in the ear can lead to the permanent or permanent hearing impairment. So this was about hearing. Now with hearing, the common condition is the speech and language, because speech and language has a very close connection with hear, because what we hear, that we produce in terms of speech. So you must have seen that most of the time children who are born deaf, they don't speak. That doesn't mean that they there is a problem in the speech, in terms of there is a problem in any organ which produces speech. It is more of that if they don't hear, they cannot develop this speech. So they take lot of time in developing this speech, and sometimes there is a direct impact to the organ, which can cause the speech or language difficulty. So as per RPWD Act 2016, speech and language disability means a permanent disability arising out of conditions such as laryngotomy. So you must have known that larynx is our voice box. So we have larynx lies somewhere in the neck, which is behind the windpipe trachea. So it is known as the voice box. So when there is, for any reason, when that laryngectomy is done, so then there is a loss of speech or voice in the person, or aphasia affecting one or more component of speech. Aphasia is more due to the neurological problem. In any problem in the brain, any problem in the nervous system or the nerves, can lead to loss of speech and the language difficulty, and language due to organic and neurological causes. So this is how we understand that how a speech and language impairment can happen. It can happen because of the impairment of the organ like larynx, or it can happen at the level of the nerves, neurological, and other organs indirectly help in the speech language speeches, that are mouth, like lips, tongue. These also add to the formation of voice or speech. So any impairment happen to these organs can lead to the speech difficulties or deficits. Next. So speech has many dimensions, like how we define a speech, like what are the how the speech is made. So there are different parameters which define this speech, like please complete this slide. One is the voice, how the speech is made up of. One is the voice, what we are hearing. And pitch, intensity and quality. So pitch is the frequency of voice. Like you must have seen that there are certain people, they have a very shrilling voice, very thin voice, very shrilled, very husky bass. So these are the types of pitches we use, that and loud and very soft muffled voice. So these all comes into the pitch, intensity and quality of voice. Then comes the resonance. Resonance, that our nasal nose also has importance in forming this speech. So sometimes resonance is that nasal part. Sometimes you must have seen that there are certain people when they speak, they have a nasal voice, lot of nasal voices coming. Or to other side, you must have seen that whenever the person is suffering from cold, there is a cold, and we say that the voice of the person changes because there is a nasal, so because it is the speech is formed through these all organs are the part of making the voice. So no, any issue in the nose can affect the resonance of the speech. Maybe the resonance may be increased or it can be decreased also. Then articulation. Articulation is also important because we articulate all the words and the letters and subject. So you must have seen that sometimes child is not able to articulate properly a particular word. So in our normal language we say that when suppose a child is supposed to speak sir, a sound of sir, he speaks sound of fur. So he is not able to articulate that the signal which goes to brain for the sound, when it comes back, it is not coming back to the right muscle which produces that particular sound. So the person, the child or the person who's having problem in articulation, he is not able to speak the particular syllable. He's not able to pronounce because of that articulation effect. Then comes the fluency. Fluency means how smoothly one person speaks. Like fluency means how many times, like there is a stammering, there is a stuttering, there is a cluttering. When the person who's not able to speak in a particular flow, there is obstruction in the flow of a speech, then there is a problem in fluency. So let us understand a few of the problems which are speech or language related issues are there. Let us see certain examples of it. Next. So cluttering. So cluttering is, what is cluttering? Cluttering is excessive moment of over co-articulation, meaning that sounds and syllables are blended together too much so that it can sound like all sounds or syllables are not present. So like in cluttering, what happen is that when the person speaks, they mix two sounds, and they mix the two sounds, and they cannot pronounce the whole word. Like suppose a child has to speak fortunately. Instead of speaking fortunately, he will speak firkly. So he is going to eat away certain syllabus, and he is not able to speak complete word fortunately. Instead of fortunately, he will speak firkly. So and so again is that excessive use of normal disfluences such as interjunctions. Sometimes person doesn't know the how there is a too much of a gap in the word or the two syllables or two letters, and then he uses certain word like so you must have seen that there are certain people when they speak, they don't speak the whole word very clearly. Sometimes there is the gap between the two letters or two word is filled by these conjunctions like this. So they make certain sounds like this. So I would like to go, so there is a gap, then I was thinking about taking a drive. So if the person wants to speak these two sentences, instead of continuously speaking these sentences, the person will speak like that, I would like to go, and then he is going to take some time, and then he is going to speak the next sentence. So these are, and third is the pauses in place of not expecting grammatically, often making the speech sound jerky and spurty. So basically, in this kind of cluttering speech, even the person doesn't know he's having a problem. He has acquired the speech like that. Most of the time, either he will take away certain letters from the word, so pronounces differently, or he takes certain big pauses in two sentences or two words. So, and he is so used to that in his speech, he doesn't even realize that he is having this problem. So next comes is stuttering. Stuttering means when there is a stress on putting certain word and syllables. And stuttering is something where the person knows that he is having problem. When he is putting a stress, he is very well aware of that he is putting a stress. So stuttering, another very common name we use for stuttering is the stammering. You must have heard lot of children or people, they stammer. They put lot of stress on particular word when they speak. So like, suppose somebody wants to speak today, so he will take today. So he is going to take some time, he is going to put a stress on t word to put to pronounce it as a today. So it is known as stuttering. So these both are the as we see in the previous slide, these are the fluency disorder where there is not a right flow of the speech, there is the obstruction in the speech. So these are these are certain conditions because of the fluency fluency in the speech. Next, then apraxia. Someone with apraxia of speech has trouble saying what he or she wants to say correctly and consistently. So apraxia is a condition when the person doesn't know as I told you, there is a problem in the muscle, that the message which comes from the brain, then that the message doesn't come right manner, that whatever goes to the brain, it does not come in the right manner, that the right muscle of the tongue or the mouth has to be used to pronounce a particular word. So that can be the problem in apraxia. Then articulation disorders, I have already told you, even articulation disorder is that where person is not able to articulate a particular letter or a word, he is mispronounces, he speaks in a he instead of particular word or the syllable or the sound, he replaces that with some other sound or the syllable. So abnormality in speech sound producing process resulting in inaccurate or otherwise inappropriate execution of speaking act. So it is very common, as I told you, most of the people sometimes they, instead of sir sounding of sir, they make a sound of fur. So instead of they make a sound of the. So they are not able to pronounce that particular sound. So these are certain areas, problems which are related to speech and language difficulties. Next slide. And now we will see how you as a teacher can support these children and bring inclusion in the classroom. So next, first is, as I told you, face the child while talking, that means either facing the child or face covered. So when in your class, when children are sitting with speech and hearing difficulty, make sure that you always face to them and then speak, because most of the learning have happened through the observation. So they learn, they try to imitate the lip movement, they try to imitate the tongue movement, and then they try to speak. So lot of practice is required, and they practice while seeing you. So whenever you talk to them, make sure that you are not facing your back towards them. Next is encouraging classmates to take turns so that the child understand what is being expressed. So we have to encourage other peers also, that they may have to sometimes repeat certain words again and again, so that the child with this disability, they can understand it, they can learn it. Then communicate in the language of the sign or oral known to the child. Sometimes when there is a complete hearing loss, and when the child, there is no mode of communication, then we have to learn the mode of communication in which child understand that. So it is a very simple say, if I cannot learn the way you teach, can you teach me the way I can learn? So the same thing, if we have to use the language which is understood by the children with hearing difficulty or the speech difficulty, so sign language. So we all know that the sign language is something we as a teacher or community should get used to it, so that they can see, these children can see proper with certain hand movements, with certain gestures. When we can create sign language, we can go to the international sign language rules or Indian sign languages for everything. So we can start learning, and we can communicate with these children through the sign language. Use simple, natural, communicative and situational language within the context. This is very very important. When there is a struggle in understanding thing in terms of speech or language problem or hearing, so the other person has to be very very slow and clear in speech, so that they can understand, they can observe the lip movement, they can observe the movement of the face and everything, and they can learn with you. So that when you are specially special attention should be taken care upon when we are talking to these children. So we need to be very very clear, we need to be very slow and steady, so that they can understand us what we are speaking. Children with hearing impairment fail to acquire language naturally. It needs to be taught to them. Use of meaningful situation will help to enhance language learning. I have already told you that, because hearing is one of the medium to create a communication. The person listen to you, and then they start reproducing in terms of speech. If the child is not able to hear you, he cannot learn the language. So in that case, children with hearing uh, difficulties, hearing impairment, especially with congenital, the language has to be built up through lot of sign language, lot of gesture and situation, so that when they are in a particular situation, then they can understand and they can memorize that. Then repeat the comments and questions of other students, especially those from the back rows. Sometimes whatever, suppose you are talking to different children in the classroom, so if the other children who are sitting at the back and they speak something, it is the duty of the teacher to recreate and reproduce that, so that they can see you and they can understand that what other person has spoken. Next, acknowledge who has made the comment, so students who are hearing impaired can focus on the speaker. So suppose when somebody in the classroom, you appoint certain student to speak, so please point out that way, so that the children with hearing difficulty, they can understand that this child is particularly going to speak, and they can see that person. Because otherwise, any person who is speaking, if they are not facing that person, so they will never understand that what that person is speaking. So it is very very important that we have to acknowledge the person who's going to speak, so that the child with hearing impairment can focus himself towards that person and can will try to understand what that person is speaking. Allow several breaks or extra time for oral and written responses for a child with hearing impairment in the class discussion and assignments. So this is the universal rule for all the disabilities, that we have to give them certain time. In any difficulty, it is a it 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 requires by them that they need some time to understand, to comprehend the things, and to reproduces. The person who is not able to hear you properly, suppose you are dictating something, so first of all he has to concentrate in terms of hearing your speech. Once he heard, then he has to put it on the in terms of writing. So the whole process may take some extra time as compared to other students. We have to learn their limitation, and we have to give them that extra time. Many students are known to use whole word methodology or sight vocabulary instead of phonics. So it all depends. Sometimes we use the like of phonics, we use sight words. So different type of methodology we use as per the learning of the child, that we have to create that. So this is all about speech and language and hearing impairment. So our purpose is that give you a little gist of every disability, so that if any child in your classroom is sitting, at least you will be able to understand the problem of a child, and in your capacity you can create that inclusion for a child, so that child learning can be improved. So with that, I end up my session, and I am open for any discussion. Anything you want to ask, please feel free to ask me. हेलो सर. सर आपको अपना माइक ऑन करना पड़ेगा, प्लीज. या.
Mute.
हाँ.
Madam,
नमस्कार सर.
namaskar. Madam, one student in my school
Mhm.
suffering from liquid from the ear.
Mhm.
One is student in my school, madam.
Mhm. So it is very common problem when it, like in India, whenever there is a cold happens,
Yes,
so we
yes,
say
yes.
that it will get all right on its own. So most of the time we don't take treatment for the cold. When the cold stays very longer period of time, it causes the infection spreads to the ear also.
Yeah.
And when the nothing can be done, then when the child doesn't take any treatment, that one day child will be having a pain in ear, and suddenly then there is an infection which comes out from the eardrum, and there is
Yeah.
a hole. The hole in the eardrum is created, and the discharge coming out. If it happens once for a while, then it gets all right. The healing process is natural, that the drum gets naturally healed, and the person is all right. But if it happens on a regular basis, the child is having frequent infection, then that hole becomes permanent, and the child will be having hearing impairment.
Very.
So if you see that child, the child is having the discharge from the ear, kindly educate parents that they have to take the child to the ENT specialist. Maybe this is the phase that the child ear can be saved, his hearing can be retained. If this happens very very frequently, the child may be having permanent ear damage.
He also take, madam, treatment in hospital.
Okay.
Oh,
So
hospital.
so we have to understand that already he is having a chronic infection, and he is having
Chronic
something.
infection.
So we have to see, and that we have to educate parents about the local hygiene, so that he will not be prone to lot of infection.
Okay, ma'am.
Thank you for Biswajit ji for sharing.
Madam,
Any
tomorrow.
the same session I will be taking in Hindi.
Okay.
Not
Any
tomorrow,
other?
on Thursday.
Yeah. Sorry, we will be taking on. We will be taking not tomorrow. We'll be having a session on Thursday.
Thursday, ma'am. Thursday.
Yeah, Thursday.
Okay, okay.
Any other person who wants to ask something? Mahinder, can we have? Do we have any question on the Facebook?
Let me check, ma'am.
Vishwajit ji, you are in which school?
Sochindolal Primary School, ma'am. In
Primary
Tripura.
from Tripura.
Tripura, Agartala, madam.
Yeah, Agartala. Yeah.
Agartala, yes, ma'am.
We have even two blocks of Agartala.
Oh.
We gave
नहीं
training
मैम
in.
फेसबुक में कोई क्वेश्चन नहीं
Abhi nahi hai. Fine. So I think we end up this session. I again invite all the teachers. You can go and view the session again. If you have any doubt, you didn't understand a part of it, please feel free to ask me. You can write to us. We'll get back to you. Vishwanath ji, did you understand everything whatever we discussed today? Could you
Yes,
understand
ma'am.
it?
Yes.
Thank you so much. So
Okay,
we
ma'am.
will meet tomorrow. We will meet on Thursday again for the
Thursday.
same session in Hindi. Yeah. Namaskar.